Oh my god! What is wrong with you?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stick to the Manga, your weekly manga podcast, where each week we talk about a new manga. And this week we're talking about Onani master Kurosawa. And this week joining us is the infamous Tyler. We've talked about him. Gabi's in love with him.
Hello. And yes.
What? Why do you... I have a question real quick. Why do you always try to sound like you don't want to say the intro? Because you try to talk as fast as possible.
I don't know, I just want to get it out of the way.
It's very obvious. Okay, continue.
I'm going to read the summary. Kurosawa is a young boy with a passion for stroking his rock-hard meat rod in the third-floor girls' bathroom. It's his daily ritual to imagine his female classmates in lewd situations where he Yankee Doodles his dandy. Is Kurosawa a perverted pig or just a misunderstood youth with a heart of gold?
I didn't realize he wrote he Yankee Doodles his...
It was very unprofessional for you to laugh in the beginning. I think it caused a chain reaction that caused Jake to also laugh during the opening. Very
I think he forgot that he said he Yankee Doodles his dandy. You can tell while you read it.
I completely forgot.
That's why I know you did. Because when you read it, you were like, what?
I saw it coming and I was like, Yankee Doodles his dandy. And I was like, oh my god, I forgot I wrote that. I'm hilarious. Oh my god, I really didn't write any talking points.
That's what I said.
You know what? I wrote two. I hope you like yogurt.
Oh, that one didn't have color, so I did not.
Yeah, because I wrote it on my phone. I wrote.
Yeah, I figured. I thought Kevin was going to be here as well. I figured between the three of you, you kind of had something going at this point since you guys have been doing a few episodes.
No, you would think that, wouldn't you?
I figured that you guys would talk about things and I'd be able to assist with those things.
Like I said, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
Half the time we don't follow what we say, like we have for talking points.
I do. Well, usually we change the order, but we try to cover all of our talking points. I'm the one who tries to keep us in an order from beginning to end. Usually Kevin likes to jump all over the place.
Yeah. Kevin likes to start from the end.
And I cannot. I'm like, stop.
But this
also,
week we're
Molly's
literally just talking about
okay.
masturbating.
So,
for like
since
a third of the manga, that's all he does. That's what his story is. I jerk off in the girls' bathroom.
Okay, so
it really is.
Jake,
I hate it. No.
Since it's your birthday tomorrow, why don't you tell us why this was your birthday pick?
Because it's really one of the funniest mangas, and it starts off real bad, but at the end you're like, oh, you know, he sees his wrong, and you yeah.
I only found this funny if I pretended it was satire.
Oh, it's definitely satire. I'm like 100% sure that it's satire.
I sure hope so. So by telling myself it's satire, which I hope it is like the only real way I found it funny. Otherwise, I just felt violated by this creepy little middle schooler who talks like a misogynistic 70-year-old man in his head.
Yeah, I
think
you talked about it in the past, but
I feel like when, like, most of the time for, like, when you're in, like, that age, like, that's what your brain is like, this is acceptable, right?
What people were you around?
Porn, Gabi. And
So,
Tyler's dad.
I just choked on my soda. I'm dying. Okay, I'm gonna stop drinking now. Or maybe I need to start drinking something harder.
Not the wording you want to use right now, Gab.
Oh, I'm upset. Okay, moving on. God, what a baby. I hate both of you.
Yeah, Jake, I remember you talking about this whole thing in the past, this manga.
Like 5 years ago. I
Yeah,
think to this
I remember
day.
you talking about it. And now, just from my personal experience with most manga that are like ridiculous like this one, they tend to have overly ridiculous situations as well for like the entirety of it.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, I was just very confused. I was fully expecting just something incredible to happen for like the first 7 chapters, and just nothing did.
Yeah. It's just a dude jerking it and complaining about his school. About his
Basically.
classmates. That's all it is for like the first
See,
7 chapters.
but here, don't forget to tell them the best part, that these kids are in middle school. Except I looked it up. Well, Tyler and I looked it up because we were talking about it. Their middle school is like
Our high
7th
school.
to 9th grade. No, it's
No.
7th to 9th grade. So that is like 12 to 15. So this kid is between 12 and 15 years old.
He's like 15.
Not quite true though. They're depending on their
They're in
birthdays.
their last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it say they were in their last year?
Their third
Yes.
year.
I thought
of
they were
middle school.
second years. Oh, okay.
Well, it starts
They were
out in his
second
second
year?
year, end of his
Yeah,
second
okay.
year.
So
Yep,
they're 14
okay.
to 15. Somewhere like
14 to 16.
So
if
in
you really
Japan,
wanna argue
completely
that.
legal. And not in any way
Oh.
inappropriate. In the West,
Ugh.
though, very inappropriate.
But my also problem is, why does he have to shoot it at the wall? Like every time. Like why?
marking
That
his
feels like
territory.
unnecessary. There's a toilet right there.
Well, he has to sit somewhere.
He wasn't sitting though. He stands like the whole time.
Yeah.
He shoots it behind the wall
And they've
at the
got those
toilet.
squatting toilets.
Right.
Because there's one scene where you see him actually like throw the like tissue paper into the toilet and flush it. Only one scene where that happens.
Mhm.
You see him wipe it off the wall every single time.
I hate that. It's so unnecessary for me. I'm like, I don't want to see it.
Hey, at least
How
he's
about-
hygienic about it.
Mm.
A lot of dudes
He
would just
uses
leave it
toilet
there.
paper. He doesn't even use like a
I don't know if that's
bleach
quite
cloth
an
or
accurate
anything.
statement, Jake.
Most dudes would just leave it.
Most wouldn't put it there in the first place, to be fair.
That's fair. But most dudes, if they put it there, they'd leave it there.
Yes. If I would assume if your thing was getting off in the women's restroom, it's something to do with power, some kind of control thing to make someone have to deal with it. Otherwise, you just do it because what does it matter at that point?
See, that's my funny part, or something I found really weird. So he has this ritual like every single day, and then they go on. I think it was summer vacation, and then he's like, at the end of it, he's like, I'm so pent up or something. He said something worse than that, but because it wasn't at school, he didn't like masturbate at all, and I was like, what? I was like, what is happening? Like, I don't understand the line of thinking, and I really hate the different scenarios that we have to see. I really hated all of them. I was so uncomfortable.
Okay, the scene with like the bully girl where he like, oh, we're gonna go into spoilers by the way. We've already gone. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna be that upset about getting spoiled for this. I'll edit it in later that the spoiler
anything other
warning.
than masturbate. To be fair.
What?
Alright.
Say it again?
Yeah, we're gonna go into spoiler territory now. Now he's going further into masturbation. So like, also this is not a topic for younger viewers. That's why this podcast episode is gonna be marked 18+. Just so nobody gets mad and reports it. It's 18+.
for good reason.
Yeah.
And if you want to be what they call him in the end, Onani master, don't read this manga as a guide.
Yeah, don't do what this guy does. Don't do what his friend tells him to do. Cuz she's a bad person.
I felt really bad for her until, she started blackmailing our main dude and was like, you know what you should do? You should come all over all of our classmates' stuff because they bully me. And I was like, she's got the spirit, but it's going in the wrong direction.
It's like the first time it happens, he does it on his own fruition because he's like, you know what, fuck you, I'll come on your stuff.
Because he doesn't want to be called out.
Yeah. What a fucking freak, in all honesty. He's a fucking freak for, the first fucking...
Here, let me read some of the speech bubbles. Let me read some of the speech bubbles that I saved.
It'll be bad if either me or Tyler reads it, so you go ahead, Gabby.
Well, the first one I screenshotted was saying for us seniors in our last year of middle school, because I was like, they're in middle school, but their middle school is like our junior high. One of the things was Kurosawa-kun's dark rod, and I was like, gross. And then the one where his face is all creepy, and he's like, how can she possibly be a middle schooler with those boobs?
I don't even remember that panel.
And then you were like a carp on the chopping board. I was like, excuse me? That was during one of his fantasies. And then one of just his things.
Oh, that's during one of the really creepy one that I don't like.
Yeah, yes. But this one, just when it was, he came on the wall, looks like I broke the record for flight distance.
He says that multiple times.
I know. And then this is one of the things where he talks, like, in his head and how he thinks like a 7-year-old misogynist, and this is why I say that, a certain embarrassment fitting for a girl of her age. I have a positive impression of this girl. Like, who are you? And then probably some deep grudge that is beyond anything I can imagine, a deep and dark suffering that only the victim knows. And I'm like, who are you? And then he's like, what a persistent, clingy cunt. And I was like, that was a fun string of curse words. And then, was science fiction too difficult for a common middle school girl? I was worried about this. And then this one, he doesn't even think about his fantasies normally. He's like, I will make her my first meal. But wait, there's more. And then one of his scenes where he's just like, I'm gonna do this and violate her when his crush started dating the boy he didn't like.
Oh, yeah.
Takagawa. But my body is rejecting Takagawa as my meal? I'm like, what does that even mean?
He fucking throws up.
Yeah, he really does. And then this one was a dense color that I had not seen before until now. I really hated that one. That one, I literally gagged, I think, while reading it. I was like, I can't do this.
Thinking back on it, I think there was about an eighth as many panels that had vomit in it as there were semen in it. That's not a good ratio.
There's only 2 panels where there's... No, there's a couple panels. Because there's flashbacks to him throwing up and to a girl throwing up.
It's not a good ratio.
Vomit and cum. Oh my god, this is like us going back to our Tokyo Ghoul episode where we talked about vomit kink.
Oh yeah, what a throwback.
Which I think I ended up removing most of that conversation because I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah, that's fair. But I know all the things that I just read came from all around the 31 chapters, but I just felt like it was important that if you're listening to this and not reading it because you don't want to, I understand why. What was her name? The bullied girl.
Itahara.
Yeah.
Say it again?
Kitahara.
Kitahara. Yeah, I felt really bad for her, but she had some of the most disturbing facial expression panels when the panels got really dramatic.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her until probably, I mean, the obvious mark, but after, I can't remember all the names. I know Sugaba's the initial bully.
Yeah, just choose bullied. Just tell us what happened.
Yeah. So after her initial blackmailing of him, Dawn was the only one where it was really like, okay, you're kind of pushing it now, but I can sympathize a little bit. After
Yeah.
that, she just kind of turned into the worst character in it. Worse than the guy, even.
Which I did not think could happen, that I could hate anyone more than the main character. But you do, because she blackmails him to like come on all of the bully stuff, and then sometimes it's not even on the people that are bullying her, and that's what happened with Katagawa. Like she just blackmailed the main character to like come on girls who were like too happy or something because they're just too happy. And I'm like, if you stuck with the bullies, like okay. Well, how about the scene they were carving? I thought she was gonna stab one of them, but instead she just stabs her own hand. Like it went fully into her hand. That was like an inch of like carving material.
Yeah.
Or I mean, like carving stick. I don't know what you call it.
I couldn't remember that part because it's been 5 years, which makes me feel really fucking old. But
Just a little maiming.
like, oh fuck, did she kill herself? Or did she kill somebody else? Because it ends off one of the chapters of like her holding like the bloody carving tool.
I think she was holding her hand.
Yeah, because she had stabbed her hand.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, the fuck?
I was really hoping she was going to stab that one girl. I thought that would have been
Gabi
much more
supports
interesting.
murder.
I didn't say murder. I didn't want her to die. I just wanted her to, be stabbed. It would take a lot to kill her with that little carving tool. It would take a lot to kill her with that little carving tool.
This is not a manga where people need more orifices.
I've got worms.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh, God. So, what was your favorite part in the story, guys?
Even the parts where it got better, I still didn't like the way that they happened.
Explain.
So, when his love interest, when his Takegawa, I believe,
the original love interest.
Yes. When they were really subtle, but there definitely were hints of her and Nagaoka being interested in each other, but they were very subtle about it.
Yeah, I did not notice that. When they started dating, I was like, what?
Yeah, it didn't quite make sense. They had to actually, they had to point it all out. It wasn't like one thing where it felt like they were, how in a really long manga, like a series of anything, really, doesn't have to be manga specifically, of course, but it feels like they're just kind of making it up as they go because they are. Yeah. It felt like that, but in a really short story, it's really weird when that's the case.
Oh, I definitely agree. Like a lot of times, like I realized in the end, like why they made that decision, because they needed the main character to hate Katagawa. Sorry, wait. Is that the girl? The love interest? Is that her name? Takagawa. They needed the main character to like go against her for whatever reason, to play into the storyline. So I understood after it happened, but I still thought it was weird that they were interested in each other, because like it just seemed like them two were flirting, and I was like, oh, is he gonna redeem himself as a good person? And then like he was like, I will destroy them. I was like, okay.
So, a lot of people call this Fap Note
Fair enough.
Oh,
because
God.
they compare Kurosawa to Light Yagami a lot. Because, like, there's literal, like, the person was inspired by Death Note to write this.
Yeah, I can see that in a really weird, awful way.
Like,
In a really screwed up way, yeah, I guess.
there's even, like, a scene where they go see a Death Note movie, but it's called Les Note. And there's panels from this that are directly inspired by Death
Oh my
Note.
gosh. That's why this felt so familiar to me at times. The really dramatic faces are so much like Death Note. Like some of the dramatic faces, like your favorite one, the buckets of cum one. Like that face, the facial expression he makes, like a lot of the dramatic facial expressions remind me of Death Note.
I
I don't
haven't.
understand why, like. Oh, you go ahead, Tyler.
Okay. I haven't read Death Note, so I don't
It's good.
know the faces that you're talking about. So
They have some
only,
of them in the anime.
the only comparison I would have been able to make for them would have been like some of the, I guess, SpongeBob. Some of the faces they make on that sometimes.
Didn't you know? SpongeBob's an anime.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus. I don't understand why they constantly made, like, Kurosawa squinting.
Which one is that? The main character?
Yeah.
What do you
Onani
mean
Master
made him?
Kurosawa, Gabi.
I forget all of their names every time.
So
But
do I, and I
what do you,
just read it.
what do you mean squinting?
Like, every single panel, like, his eyes are, like, almost shut.
Oh, I took this as I'm sick of your bullshit and I'm tired because boy has bags. Boy has huge eye bags.
Boy
He
has
does have big eye
bags.
bags.
Boy got bags.
He does. Like really large eye bags throughout like the whole
Really
manga.
large bags.
I said eye bags that time.
I know. I'm just taking things out of context because I can. I'm the media, Gabby.
You're just gonna try to get me canceled again.
Just so you know, Tyler, Gabby hates furries. She thinks they're disgusting. So,
Wait, Jake, what was your favorite part?
my favorite part,
Yeah.
I think, honestly, the part where, like, Takagawa has, like, the inner struggle of, like, do I apologize? Do I forgive him? Do I apologize? Do I forgive him? And then, like,
Yeah, that was a
Nagaoka
good.
is like, yeah, I think he's actually trying to change.
Yeah, that was actual quality in terms of like storyline. Like I actually appreciated that. I'm trying to think what I thought. Okay, how about this? What did you guys think was the funniest scene?
That's very easy.
What was it, Tyler?
It's after they ride the Jurassic Park ride at the school trip, and there's the one panel which I'm gonna have to pull up again. Where it just zooms right in on Kurosawa's face. He's making a expression everyone knows the expression, but I don't have a good explanation for it. Think like the pre-nosebleed expression, I guess.
You mean the Kenny face? The Lenny face?
No,
Okay.
like the expression,
Of a horny teenage boy.
something like that. Yes, that'd be, I suppose, but not overt. More like okay, this is getting stored forever in my memory. The
Okay.
developers of this Jurassic Park ride, please keep up the good work. From a male third-year middle schooler. It's the best. It actually got a laugh out of me. Came out of nowhere. It was great.
It was because they had, like, all the girls' shirts had gotten wet, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I think the funniest scene to me, I can't remember anything other than literally buckets of cum.
I don't remember the context either.
I think it was right after he came on Takagawa's all of her belongings.
Yeah, that was there.
Really?
It was literally everywhere. It was in her bag, all on her notebooks. I was like, at least he's spry, I guess.
That's okay.
That's the only thing I can think of to compliment this character. Because I don't like him.
So, I will say though, on Takagawa's, going back to that, her indecision about how she feels about him and just her struggling with that. That was one of those parts of the story where I kind of felt like with the rest of it, it just didn't really make sense for her to forgive him, because I'm still thinking these people are still middle schoolers. I mean, they're a bit older than our middle schoolers, but think
It's
like
junior
a
high.
bunch of freshmen having an experience like that. Like, do you really think they'd be completely forgiven within like a couple days? You know?
You're saying if some guy who I thought was
It
my
was a couple
friend
months.
decided to come on all of my belongings, yeah, I do not think I would forgive them.
Yes, exactly.
I would punch them in the face. Probably.
I couldn't. It didn't feel like a genuine character in that moment for her
Or
actually
castrate
forgiving
them.
him right that. It just felt very quick.
This whole story felt quick. It felt quick and slow at the same time because I didn't know, not necessarily slow, but I didn't know what to follow along with because the storyline kept, changing.
Yeah.
Like what you said happened after chapter 12.
It feels like an entirely more than just a new writer. It basically could be two entirely different manga. The kind of terrible, I don't know, chapter 11, I want to say, is really specifically where it starts kind of morphing into the different story. But just all it is him just jacking off, basically, is the whole story for quite a few chapters.
The
Once they
first
stop with
11
that,
chapters.
once they stop with that, it actually feels completely different. And it's actually somewhat interesting, even though it's still, I can't sympathize with really any of the characters. Except for probably Nagaoka. Even though he's just in general doesn't feel like a real person. His reaction to the whole thing with Takagawa, from his perspective, it makes sense. Like, this person that he's, at least in his mind, has thought has been one of his closest friends for years now. He's like, well, he did something completely horrible, but I still consider this person my friend. And I have for a long time. That was probably one of the only, that and the Jurassic Park scene were like the only two where the character actually felt like a real person for a second there. To me.
Yeah, but that was because the main character is written in that weird way that I talked about. Like, he just doesn't seem very human.
Kurosawa is really relatable.
I think you need to argue that point.
I don't know about that one.
For me, he's relatable in a way. Like the way he feels about his like classmates and how he's like, you're all fucking idiots, fuck you. That's how I felt all throughout middle and high school.
The problem, though, is the reason he thinks that is because he's just focused on capturing them in his mind and then jacking off to them. And he doesn't care anything about the guys because that's all he wants to do is mentally capture.
And eat them as meals.
I'll save these for my meal later. No, but I had a lot of the same thought process. Like, I thought I was better than everyone because, like, nobody really talked to me. So I was like, oh, you don't talk to me because I'm better than you.
But the thing is that lots of people talked to him. Lots of people considered him, like, in the first few chapters, they're all begging him to come to karaoke and to hang out with them, like, every day.
Yeah, and he's like, no, you're obnoxious. Fuck you. I didn't have that, though. Really, in school. I was more like, oh, you guys had a get-together without me? Alright. Cool.
Yeah, there was a while there where you pretty much lived at my house.
Yeah. Pretty much every weekend, I was either there or you were at my place. It was more often that I was at your place, though, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So, like I was saying with them being two different manga, like your summary pretty much only talks about the first part.
Yeah.
Which is like it's so weird.
You mean all the blackmail?
The blackmail was weird, yes.
It was so creepy.
Yeah. By the end of it, I mean, even before he started turning things around, which was that makes sense for his character arc for him to try and turn things around, but like with the other things, it doesn't quite for him to be accepted back into it so quickly. Just was weird.
Yeah, it really was. Especially how the teacher was like, "Attaboy." I was like, who is this man? No, he's like, I'm sorry that I have to call home. I don't want to. But then, like, I was like, why do all these people have so much sympathy? I was like, how many people stuff did he come on? Like, what the hell?
That man had.
Oh my gosh,
long
the
plot
most
arc.
disgusting scene ever was when he came in the girl's recorder and she's like, why doesn't this sound right? And she like opened it. I vomited. I was about to vomit in my room. It was so. Ugh.
I forgot that part had even happened since it's like 2 panels.
It was so awful.
Yeah,
It's
there's
the
like
worst
a
thing that
big
had ever
stretch where
happened
like
to me.
Kitaharu's just like, yeah, just come on this person's stuff. Come on this person's stuff. Because it's like after he like came on Takagawa's stuff, he was just like, I don't care anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm worthless. Like, I don't fucking care. I might as well like not exist.
That was so disgusting. Literally the worst thing that I have ever had the pleasure of viewing in my entire life.
Oh my god. How much cum was in that recorder?
It was. Stop. I'm gonna gag again. It was so awful. It was so gross.
Like,
I was like, in that
he
moment,
must
I was
have
like, boys
more
are
than once
disgusting.
into that recorder.
I was like,
I
boys
feel
are
like we can
disgusting.
discuss the finer details of it, but I don't think it's necessary.
Like, I
don't
feel like that
know.
recorder
We
was like
discuss-
half full.
Stop, please.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like
Did it blow bubbles?
I don't think it was working because she had said that she couldn't make anything happen with it.
The air's gotta
Wasn't
go
the scene-
somewhere, right?
I feel like wasn't the scene with the other teacher after he confesses everything?
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't he talking about her trying to, or her parents trying to launch
think
a
so.
suit about it? I
Yeah.
remember something like that happening.
God, that was
They
so
didn't want to
gross.
sue, they just wanted a public apology from them.
I was like, I would have sued. Or I would have at least tried to get them expelled. The fact, like, I feel like my parents would have been like, oh no, we're getting that boy expelled.
I feel
That's
like
so gross.
most of them would have. That's
That's
another
why,
thing. The fact that he was still there at all after all that.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure that's like felonies. That's sexual harassment.
yeah.
Like, not even, I think at that point it's past harassment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say too much because Japanese law is a bit different than what we have, but it's definitely,
There's definitely legal stuff going on here.
absolutely.
Like, you can't just, like, fucking come in somebody's belongings and not, like... Like, I reached this point with the manga where back then, 5 years ago, I just thought it was hilarious. I thought it was the funniest fucking shit. I was like, that's hilarious. You fucking came on their stuff. I was 19. 18. 19,
You were
18.
18. If it was exactly 5 years ago, you would have been 18, yeah.
Yeah, but tomorrow it would have been 19. I read it around this time 5 years ago, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. But now reading it, I'm like, oh, that's really fucked up.
Aw, snaps for Jake's character development.
Hey, you know, at least we
But
can all agree
also
that the
still
person
funny.
actually... It did have a couple of actually funny points.
Yeah.
Only if you keep in mind it's satire.
Regardless of satire.
If you think about what he's saying and how ridiculous it is, and like, only like a 12-year-old boy thinks like that, like in reality. Like, that's the shit that like a middle school boy thinks to himself while he's jerking his little weenie. That's stuff that my brain thought when I was like that
Yeah, but
age.
you didn't. But I don't think you thought it exactly how this kid does. 'Cause it literally
My
seems
dark
like
rod.
he
In the
hates
third
he
floor-
hates women.
Yeah.
In the third floor
That was-
women's bathroom, which didn't exist in that school, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna share a really personal story to the abyss of
Oh,
the
no.
internet.
Possibly
no.
one that I've heard before. Okay.
You may have heard it before. So I can recall the exact first time that I jerked my dick.
Okay.
It was at your house, Tyler.
Oh my god! What is wrong with you?
We were watching Family Guy. I think
Oh,
it was
no.
season 8.
Okay.
In the case had Quagmire chasing a bunch of like women in bathing suits. And I don't remember what we were talking about. But I took that DVD case into the bathroom with me. Just jerked off.
Jesus Christ, Jake.
I got it all over my hand. Because I didn't know what was going on. My brain was like, this is what you do, right? God, I was like 12 or 13.
Jesus. I don't know if it would have been season 8, but that's not a detail that really matters, I suppose.
Oh, I'm learning way too much about Jake today.
So not a story I've heard, actually.
I think I've withheld it just because I was like, I don't think Tyler wants to know that the first time I jerked off was at his house. And he was in the room next to me.
Okay. But I do know the house you're talking about, I think.
Yeah,
That's
the tiny
unfortunate part.
shack.
Yeah, good. I slept in a hamper there once. That was not actually as bad as you would have thought. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to
Remember
do about that.
how before we started this, since you called the main character your favorite character and called him relatable, I said my opinion of you decreased? Well, I think we could just confirm that even more with this conversation.
Does anybody want to share their first masturbation story to the internet?
I don't think Gabby wants to share hers because,
It's a little different for ladies.
well, I mean, I could
Eat?
also detail it.
Eat? Shit.
Um, I mean, I could, but the problem is weird. I suppose that one's weird too. I guess mine's probably more normal. I suppose.
You don't have to, Tyler.
This is going
I'm
on
not
the
embarrassed
internet.
about it. I just it's so long ago that it's difficult to remember details when it's like, oh yeah, because I don't exactly think about it very much, like ever.
And I remember mine vividly.
That's something Jake likes to reminisce about, you can tell.
No, because sometimes I'll think about it, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot that that's what I did.
But yeah, no, I mean, well, it's not very interesting, I suppose. It was at home on a computer. That's all there really is.
Your computer.
Huh?
Rest in peace, your computer, if it was on the computer.
I was on a computer. It was not on the computer.
Was this on your family computer that was in the living room?
No.
Okay.
Which one? At my mom's house? Is that the computer you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not that. It took me a second to remember which one you were talking. Yeah, no, not that one. It was... Do you remember that house that had the pool? And the arcade cabinet?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was at that house. We had a computer downstairs.
I don't remember that.
It was the downstairs. Well, it wasn't. It was a laptop. I'm one of the people that found out very early on about search history clearing. Far earlier than some people have that are still to this day getting found out because they forget to clear their search history.
Who are you calling out?
All the stories you hear about people that are like,
oh, I thought it sounded like you were specifically trying to. It sounded like you were calling out someone specific. Like I thought you were calling out Jake, and I was like, what?
No, I'm just saying, like, if someone's like 35 in there, you get found out that they were watching something, or like they weren't supposed. I don't know, like whatever their relationship is, but then their wife or whatever gets upset and is like, you should know by now to be able to clear your history. It's a good thing to do once in a while, actually, because it helps your computer out.
Also, don't date people who are upset at you for just being a normal, healthy human being. Just saying.
It's debatable if watching porn is healthy, but yeah.
I didn't say watching porn. I was referring to masturbation.
Okay. I think it was season 7.
Okay.
You're such a dumbass.
Jake, I don't need the specific image.
I need to know what that episode looked like because I've never seen Family Guy.
It wasn't an episode. It was just box art.
What?
It was just box art.
Oh. Yikes. Well, what does the box art look like?
I'm trying to find it.
You sound so amused and ashamed at the same time.
I don't think it was 5 or 6 off the top of my head. Because 5 was like It's not this one. It's actually not easy to find the box art for Family Guy. I would think that would have been something pretty well documented, but doesn't appear to be. I don't think it's season 8. That was actually kind of one of the darker seasons, so it could have been, but I can't find box art that would be that. So 6 or 7, most likely. That'd be the time period.
Is there anything we wanted to talk about?
We got a little sidetracked. I don't even remember where we were anymore.
I think we were basically done.
We definitely did not talk that much. This might be a really short episode.
It was a short manga.
It's longer than what we usually read. We usually only read 3 volumes. We read 4 this time.
Hey, yeah, but it was the complete story. We did touch on pretty much all the important points. I suppose we could get closer to the ending. There's some stuff going on there we didn't really talk about, but
Do you want to talk about the ending?
You say it's 4 volumes. I say really only one actually had any context that mattered.
Like, literally, if you don't read, if you skip the first 5 chapters, you're not going to miss out on anything.
Even the first 10 chapters.
No, because the first, between 7 and 12 is when they start building up their actual character with Kitahara and all that. Because
if they moved the scene with Kitahara, the very first one with her, when they bump into each other after his visit to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
If they moved it up to chapter 9 and just re-explained his initial thing and his meeting with Kitagawa, if they just had the intro again right there, and then had the Kitahara scene, and then had a couple of the Katagawa scenes, it'd basically be the same.
Yeah. But this was literally just one person who was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's for them to still make the art itself is fine. It's a bit rough because as a manga, it's a bit rough, but that's I get why. Not taken away from the artistic, the actual visuals of the manga, but story wise, for a while, it's kind of nothing going on.
Yeah. The first 5 chapters is just him complaining and jerking his knee.
Yeah, what did you guys think about the ending though?
I really like the ending. The last I think it's 10 chapters, I was just sitting on the toilet for an hour reading it.
Well, I mean the literal ending, the last 3 chapters.
It was really nice because you actually see him you see him go to Kitahara and be like, hey, yeah, you were not a good person, but I'm not gonna give up on you, and I'm gonna show you that you can change, I changed. You just have to accept that not everyone is awful like you think they are.
Yeah, at first, him and Sagawa getting together was kind of weird because at that point they'd kind of just thrown her away as a character.
It was she's a bitch. She's a bitch and a bully. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that she came back.
Well, it's not weird that she came back. It's just they threw her away for so long. After the initial thing that actually got Kitahara to go towards him, the initial incident.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of.
I'm referring to the second love interest.
Yeah, Sugawa.
No, Sugawa's the bully.
Yeah, I'm referring to the bully.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that she was the second love interest. I thought that whole last 2 chapters with her were weird.
I kind of liked it.
I did not.
Because it's sticking to the theme of people can change. And when they're at cram school, like she's like, "Fuck you, you're a pervert, fuck you," and like he's like, I was just trying to help, and then she's like, "Fuck it, here, I'll accept your help. Can you help me?" And like then she's like, here's a coffee or whatever, me repaying you. I don't want to be in debt to a pervert. And then like you kind of see that their friendship built off of that moment.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird. Like, it just seemed really random to bring in a love interest at that point instead of just focusing on the ending with the original
I think there's a
black
sequel
male,
to this, by
female.
the way.
No.
That would actually be okay at that point in the story.
I think the sequel might have just been the one chapter for chapter 31.
Yeah, that was weird. It was literally 2 panels. 2 pages. Sorry, 2 pages.
It's Onani Master Kurosawa after the juvenile.
So, Sugawa, I think at that point, though, at that point in their lives, like before they started dating, because you got to remember it was a few years afterwards, I believe.
It was only high school. I think it was just freshman year of high school.
I don't
So it
believe
was literally the next year.
No, because we're like the reunion and stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just a year ahead. That's why I was confused.
I did not take it as a year ahead. I personally took it more as like closer to the end of high school.
Oh, so
I could be wrong.
the sequel is a novel.
All right.
Onani Master Kurosawa after the juvenile takes place 2 years after the school trip they took in middle school. It came out in 2007. There's 2 chapters. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a thing. Gabi,
Okay.
how did you feel about the very end?
Which part are you referring to?
The part that you wanted to talk about.
Well, I mean, I kind of did. I didn't really like it.
You're breaking my heart.
Like, I thought it was really weird that a random love interest came in. Like, I thought that whole line of thing was weird. Like, it just took the manga on a really weird tangent.
But aren't you
to
glad?
be like, oh no, he's redeemable. But I'm like, you're still gross.
But hey, he doesn't jerk it in the girls' bathroom anymore. He does that at home, like a gentleman.
At least there's that.
I do think him and Sugawa getting together does make sense.
In a weird way.
Two bullies. Yay.
Yes, there's more to it than that, though.
But was he really a bully?
Yeah, he came in lots of people's stuff. I'm gonna call him a bully for it.
Or was he just a victim?
No.
In a way, he was.
He was partially a victim, but I don't think he was only a victim. Like, he could have said no. He could have went and told the teacher, be like, this girl's blackmailing me.
Yeah, but
And
then he would have also had to admit that he was the person doing it.
No, but I'm saying before any of that happened.
But it happened before he initially just went out of his way to go for Sugawa and her friend. Their clothes the first time. That's when Kitahara put all the
I forgot about
together
that.
and went back to talk to him.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And then she used him doing that
Oh,
as
you just proved my
blackmail.
point. He was a bully. He did it without any blackmailing. Originally.
He actually specifically did it because he was annoyed with them because of how shit they were treating Kitahara.
Yeah,
He was
instead
a
of just,
hero.
He was redeemable.
instead of just telling a teacher, like, hey, this person's getting bullied.
Well,
like,
the
do
teacher
this,
knew
like...
and just wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, but I feel like there's much better... I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just saying...
When
that
has
still
telling
partially
a
a bully.
teacher about bullying ever actually done anything?
I mean, there's definitely been, like, a few times. It's just a rarity, I think.
Basically never, though.
Yeah, but coming in the stuff didn't help either. They still bullied her. Even more, if I might add.
No, they calmed down after it.
No, not really.
For a while.
Those two did for a little while.
It was then, like, the last, like, girl who was, like, being a super bully. He was like, no, I'm not gonna come in their stuff. No, the last one, she was like, wasn't even a bully. She was like, I just don't like this girl. Come on her painting.
I mean, that was the same with his original crush, too.
Yeah. But, like, he got drone crazy with jealousy and, like, yeah. It's not an excuse for coming all over her stuff, but she used his anger and frustration against him to get him to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say he wasn't a victim. I just said he's also a bully. Because that's the way he starts off.
Or is he a hero?
No.
Standing up
He's
for
the
the little
protagonist.
person.
You can't take that from him. You can't take that from him. He might not be a hero, but you can't take away him being the protagonist.
He's the hero of the story.
He's not a hero.
He's
I
the
don't
hero
even think... No, he's not.
of his own story.
Look, he saved Kitahara's life by showing her that people aren't awful. And he saved her from getting bullied for a little bit by coming on some girls' uniforms.
In his head, he's a hero, Gabby.
That doesn't make him a hero, though.
He's a hero to himself. And Kitahara at the end.
No.
He's just a misunderstood boy with a heart of gold, Gabby.
No. No. He becomes a decent person when he used to be a shitty person.
Yes.
That's it. That doesn't mean he's a hero.
He's a hero, Gabby.
No.
I'm gonna go to a convention just as a guy in a white dress shirt and like green
blue
slacks.
Probably.
I think they're green.
It's probably blue. Oh.
I know there's a couple color panels, but in like whatever color pants he wears, and just be like, I'm everybody's favorite hero, Onani Master Kurosawa. But I'm gonna have lotion on my hands at all times. Just on my right hand, and I'm gonna go like, hey, shake my hand. And just,
God damn it.
and I'm gonna carry around a bucket full of lotion.
Okay.
Okay, I think we should wrap up.
Okay.
What would you rate this manga?
9.5.
You're so full of shit. I hate you so much.
The art is good. The story
is awful.
You know what? I gotta give it like an 8. Because like I like the characters, I'd give it a 3. The art is like a 4. The story is like a 2.
What would you rate this manga, Tyler?
Probably a 5 out of 10 fingers. Yeah, I mean probably a 5 out of 10. It's fine. like the art was probably the best thing of it, and it's not great, but it wasn't necessarily trying to be. It wasn't like they were. It didn't seem like they were trying to be like AAA level art or anything like that. It was just someone. It looked like someone drawing it in a notebook, which isn't a bad thing. If you're taking that as the base, it looked very good.
How we like to rate things on this podcast is 3 points for story, 3 points for characters, 3 points for art, and then +1 if you think it was excellent in anything else. So does your rating stay the same?
You're saying it. What?
It has 3 possible points for art, 3 possible for story, 3 possible for characters. Then you can add a +1 point if you thought it was exemplary or you just thought it deserved an extra point. Would it still be a 5?
The characters were not great.
So, how many points out of 3?
Probably a 1 on that regard.
Okay, 1.
The
Character.
art, I think, was okay. It was 12. 2. I don't
So
know
2
why
points
I
for
said
art.
12.
Okay. What about the story?
That'd be a solid 1 from me.
Okay, so your rating for it was a 4.
Okay.
Or you
I
can give
give
it a
this-
+1 for any other reason.
Do you give it a +1 for any reason, Tyler?
You know what? I will for the Jurassic Park panel. Because that panel is amazing.
I'm giving this manga a solid 3.
That seems a little low, Gabby.
No, don't even talk to me about low rating manga.
What? What do you think Oron High School Host Club is better than this?
Absolutely.
I agree with
This is
Gabby.
this is terrible. Like, no. It's awful.
I'm glad you were able to see,
also-
though, Jake, that how you've changed since you read it is that it's not as great as you thought it was. There's a lot of reasons for that, I feel.
Oh, like when I first read it, it would have been like a 10. I've been like, this is a masterpiece, which a lot of people who read it believe it to be a masterpiece.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone compliment this beside you.
It's a master of something, that's for sure.
Yeah, the Onani master, that's it.
You know, that title's kind of weird, the English title.
Yeah, I mean, I also, in general, when it comes to things like this, I don't find misogynistic humor very funny. And even though it was satirical, a lot of the humor just relied on the funny misogynistic things he said, which, I didn't find that funny. So,
Also, it's mostly dudes that like read this and are like, this is amazing.
yeah, who would have thought? Disgusting.
As I said, the only one that really I actually thought was funny was so he was in his head too much, and he's very clearly fucked up for a while there.
Oh yeah.
The first time I was like, okay, this is like an actual character. Literally was the Jurassic Park panel. Because that's like, okay, that's like a genuine reaction.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's something I could see someone actually saying in their head. None of the rest of it up until that point actually was like, okay. He felt like, I suppose actually that bringing Death Note, being inspired by that, like him being in his own head all the time and being basically above everybody else. That'd be a good comparison. But I don't find that to be very genuine when reading something. Just it's annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying. At least you stay redeemed in my eyes.
I relate to him on that regard. Of like,
Stop saying that. It just makes you sound like the worst possible human being. Ugh.
what
disgusting.
if you consider this a story about recovering from addiction, Gabby?
But you know that he doesn't stop doing it. He just does it at home.
That's fair.
And I'm not a good person to have a sympathetic thing for a sympathetic opinion for addiction, so it's not great what I would have to say about that.
Tyler's like, if you put it in that light, I'm taking this story down to a 2.
That would actually make it worse.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
There's so many videos. Like, if you look this up on YouTube, like Onani Master Kurosawa, it's like, this thing is a masterpiece to the eyes of a bunch of people on the internet.
It's probably all 12-year-old boys.
A lot of them are 18-year-old boys, Gabi.
I feel like they're lying.
I think you're just secretly Kitahara and you're gonna, like, blackmail people into just stealing other people's stuff.
That's disgusting. I would not do that.
I could actually see it as being.
What are you about to say?
Well, okay. So if you read manga like a lot, I suppose more of, I don't know how to say this style without that sounding disingenuous, but
You mean
I
Ichi?
guess like, yes, I suppose, sure. Like, it felt, if we're going the satire route, it felt like satire of a harem manga, right? But it just wasn't funny for the most part.
I agree with that. Like I said, all of like his comments and how he thinks about like all the girls and the women were just gross and creepy, and the fact it was like a middle schooler creeped me out even more.
I'll make them my meal.
Well, that was disgusting.
I'll save these images for my feast later.
Stop. I hate that line so much. That was so terrible. Please stop.
But
Ugh.
at the same time, though, like, even though I think it's terrible, it's not terrible if we're going the satire route. I think they did what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, the only time I could be like, oh, this is okay, is if I think of it as satire, but I still didn't like it very much.
I feel like they were constantly trying to, like, make fun of people who believe the same way and act the same way as Kurosawa, and that, like, that's why at the end they're like, hey, why don't you just fucking open up and be a human being for once, you fucking freak?
Yeah, but I realized that that's what they were probably trying to do, but it just seemed so disingenuous because nothing felt really authentic.
I think
As
him
a
jerking
storyline
off
for me.
was pretty authentic. That's
Yeah,
all
I
that
think-
middle
I
school
think
boys do.
You just explained part of my issue with this manga. The fact that the only thing authentic with it was him jerking off.
All right, Gabby, would you recommend this to a friend?
No.
Tyler, would you recommend this to a friend?
I don't have anybody else to recommend it to, so I'm gonna say no.
I'd recommend it to people. I'd recommend it to a lot of people. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye-bye, manga fans.
Bye.
Have a good one.